Greetings, everyone. While we have stated previously that the leadership of the Zimbabwe community is not part of the court process that was launched by some to challenge the decision of the South African cabinet not to extend the Zimbabwe exemption permit. We know that thousands of people that follow this YouTube channel would want a court update on what is happening. We were told that the court case was postponed to end of this month in November 2022. But today there is a message circulating that the court case is postponed up to the 11th to the 14th of April 2023. Like I've said that we are not part of the court process, but it is important that we inform thousands of people that view this channel. So by the time the court sits to hear the arguments, which has been submitted by others whom you already know, it will be only 1.5 months left for the expire of the grace period, which was granted up by the Department of Home Affairs. Remember, initially, the deadline was 31st of December 2022. That is the grace period. But it was then extended to the 30th of November 2023. So by the time the court sits mid-April, you'll be left with April and June. So you'll be left with May and June. So it will be 2.5 months, not 1.5 months. It will be 2.5 months before the expire of the grace period. We don't know what that means. And since we're not part of the court process, we do not know the reasons for the extension of the reasons why the court then directed that the case should be heard in mid-April. And again, we do not know what this means from a legal point of view. We have said we are not involved, so we have not sat with the lawyers to understand their thinking on whether they think they have a strong case or not. So we do not know. Ours is simple because we know you are following this YouTube channel and they want to be updated. This is what we have seen circulating, that the court case will only happen in mid-April. Ourselves, as we said from the onset, that this, in our view, is a negotiated thing. Therefore, we continue with engaging the authorities and hoping that at some point the South African cabinet will review its decision not to extend the Zimbabwe exemption permits. You remember that the ANC held its policy conference mid-year, and there were proposals around the question of migration, and we said that the issue of ZEP was then removed from the international commission, or the commission that deals with international issues, but it was placed under a commission that deals with issues around security. This is a commission on safety and security, that where the issue of ZEP was then placed under. So we continue ourselves engaging the African National Congress, the trade unions affiliated to COSATU, the South African Communist Party on this question, because we know that the ANC conference will then convene in December the 16th. Previously, we recorded a video about the officials that have been nominated to stand for the top 6, but outside the election of the top 6 and the National Executive Committee, the elective conference is set to then adopt ANC policies as recommended by the policy conference. So we are not familiar, of course, with the processes inside the ANC, whether the conference will simple rubber stamp or further engagements will happen at the conference for them to then adopt the policies of the ANC. So one policy which is of interest to us is the whole issue of migration, how the ANC-led government seeks to deal with the question of migration going forward, which also speaks to the issue of the Zimbabwe exemption permits. And you will also know that previously we also spoke about the issues around the criminality, that in our view, we thought it was unfair to bundle the issue of criminality and the issue of the Zimbabwe exemption permits. Yes, we accept, which we have said publicly, that those that are undocumented who commit crime, want to be very clear, it is not that every undocumented person commits crime. No. It does not mean that a ZEP holder does not commit a crime. There are the ZEP holders that commit a crime, just as we have South Africans that commit a crime. So, but the argument we are raising is that if a ZEP holder commits crime, it is easier to trace the person because their fingerprints are in the system. But it is difficult to trace an undocumented person because their fingerprints do not exist. So this is why we are saying it was unfair in our view to place the issue of ZEP under Peace and Stability Commission. But again, that's the process within the ANC, which some of us who are not members of the African National Congress, we cannot direct them on how they should deal with their internal processes. But we think it is important in our view for the ANC-led government to review its position not to extend the Zimbabwe exemption permits. So we'll continue to lobby, even though some of us might not be invited at the ANC elective conference, but we are busy lobbying members of the ANC that are attending the ANC conference to say, in our view, we think that you needed to speak at the ANC conference in December and appeal to the conscience of the ANC to say, let's extend or find a way of accommodating holders of ZEP. Yes, we agree in terms of dealing with the question of managing migration, but let's speak about the holders of ZEP to say, how do we accommodate the people that have been part of the economy for years? That does not mean we do not understand the rise of unemployment in South Africa and so forth, but we are also talking of people that have been part of the South African economy, and we are talking about less than 178,000. The number has been going down over the years. You remember that it started at 245,000. In fact, the application in 2010, those that submitted applications, there were 295,000. Those who received the payments, there were 245,000. So in the last, from 2010 to 2017, because the 178,000 is only counted at the based on the number of the applicants that submitted their applications in 2017. So that number fell from 245,000 in terms of those that were issued with the Documentation Zimbabwe Project ZEP to 178,000 with the ZEP. But again, some people have relocated and some unfortunately have passed on. So the number is now less than the 178,000. So that's what we are doing ourselves, believing that at some point, particularly after the elective conference of the ANC, there might be some meeting of the mind to say, okay, let's deal separately the issues of ZEP holders and the issues of undocumented migrants, so that this is not mixed or bundled together. Because every time when we talk of ZEP, then the issue of undocumented migrants then come in. So we thought it was important that we brief you about the message that is circulating, that it is said the court case is now in mid-April 2023. Please write your comments in the comment section. I know I have friends that will be saying, Mapena, go back to Zimbabwe. Fine. Please share your views, like this video, and please do subscribe to this YouTube channel. Otherwise, thank you so much. Goodbye.